Hi, today what I'd like to do is go over my design of a one brick blacksmithing, I guess you can call it a forge, but it's basically one brick. You would put a LP propane tank in here. You would put your whatever metal you're working in here, and that's enough to heat this cherry red and to basically complete a knife. A small chunk of steel. Again, I'm a fan of the 5160 steel. I will take this, and I just put out a video showing how I did it. Weld a bar onto here so that I have something to hold on to. Put this in the forge until I get it close to like this shape, till I get it close to flat. And again, this is just a piece of leaf spring, but you get the idea. And once it's flat enough, you can actually insert it in here. So you don't have to use a big coal forge or a gas forge like this, which just uses up a lot of energy. Figure 20-pound propane tank on this. So we'll put this in here, and I can get this at least started with that blank. And when I'm done, I'll put it into the 2-brick forge. The problem that I have with my, we'll call it 2-brick or 1-brick forge. This 1-brick forge is now a 2-brick forge because it broke. So you can see inside how this thing was all hollowed out. And I still like the concept, but what I want to do, I want to take a piece of angle iron and I want to make a framework around this. So there'll be a piece on this side, a piece on this side, a little chunk on the back, and a little chunk on the front, and basically the same thing on the bottom. When I'm done with it, I'll actually weld a piece of metal here, and I'll weld a piece of metal on the back, so as you push your blade in, you can see how that's fallen down. So it's basically going to support it. So basically what I'm going to do is make a metal skeleton for this, but I'm going to do 2 bricks. So instead of it being a 1-brick forge, this is going to be a 2-brick forge. So I went out and bought some new Firebrick. I'm going to put a cut in here, all the way back. I'll drill a hole in the side. I'll put another brick up against the side of it, and then I'm going to weld this framework around it. So that's really what the goal is going to be. So I'll go ahead and start cutting some pieces. What I've done in the past is I actually will start and say I'm designing a project, but I won't show the steps of actually how I'm doing it. So I'm going to show the design steps of how I'm doing this, because I don't expect this one to fail. No one wants to see anything fail. So the dimensions for this block: 9 inches, 2.5 inches, and 4.5 inches. So what I've written down here is 9, 2.5, and 4. So I'm going to need 2 on top and 2 on bottom. So I'm going to need 4 of those. We're going to have 2.5 inches this way. We're going to put 2 bricks together, so 2.5 and 2.5 is 5. So we're going to need 4 crosses that go this way, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom. And then this is 4.5 this way. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 over here. So we'll do the math, and then we're going to see how much we need. I've already done it, so I know I have enough. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start cutting probably these 9-inch sections. I'm going to. I have a couple pieces here. This is 36 inches, so I don't just want to waste it. So I want to see if I can get as much out of this piece as I can. I have 2 pieces like this. I removed the rivets from it, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these into sections. So once it's done cutting in sections, I'll be right back. Alright, so the 9-inch pieces are cut. I tried to measure this out, so like 5 times 4, I thought this was going to be 5 inches, but I didn't take into account the thickness of these. So this piece is not going to fit, so I have to recut those. But I got the big sections done, so I know 9 inches is good for these. That's really the big part. So for these I have to add probably 1/8 of an inch total to it. And then tomorrow I will go ahead and I will cut these. We're having storms here in Pittsburgh, so I have to get ready, get down to the station, get ready for some tree downs and things like that. So we'll go ahead and get that ready. The good part is when I'm done, this will actually be the brace that gets welded in to hold the metal. Again, this hole is going to be in the center. I just laid this out for the 2 bricks. So I'm okay with the progress today. Would like to have gotten more done. Everything's going to have to be chamfered or cut at a 45-degree angle, so all these things have to be 45. That has to be 45, so I don't really think I scrapped much. I have another big chunk of metal, probably 36 inches. So what I scrapped today was this. I don't think I can use these two. This I can use as a brace. And maybe this piece can be used as a brace in the back. We'll see. Anyway, so that's where I ended up. I'll continue tomorrow, and I'll continue showing progress. Alright, so here's the 2 brick. Get some pieces cut. I screwed this up again. I mean, I tried cutting this at an angle, and I got the angles wrong because I'm using a grinder, not realizing that the inside of this is round, so it's never going to line up perfect. So these are as good as they're going to get. I'm going to go ahead and tack. I think this may just be the bottom. I have, here's the front, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'll drill a hole on this side. So at least get this welded, see where it goes. As I like to say, relationships, public speaking, and welding are the 3 things that I'm really bad at. Getting better, a little bit better at the welding. I guess it just takes practice. And then my brother would be turning over in his grave if he saw how bad those were. Anyway, this is going to be the bottom. I used this big chunk of steel I had floating around just to keep everything together. And since there was no place to actually weld to clamp to, I just took a piece of scrap metal and welded it on there, so that was easy for me to do. So I'll go ahead and I'll flip it over, pull these bricks out. I'll go ahead and cut this. Probably use a handsaw, just cut that out, and then I'll weld the bottom frame on it. So using my Harbor Freight cutoff wheel, cutoff grinder, I was able to cut this section out. I'll mark this section, I'll cut that off, and then I'll be able to slide it. I think that's a lot easier doing cut, 90-degree cuts instead of 45s. Yeah, so I like that fit a lot better. I can get a good weld, not that I can weld, but I should be able to get, in theory, a good bead here, 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 and here. So I'll go ahead and put the brick back on it, that heavy piece of steel, and I'll go ahead and I'll weld this side up. Alright, with most of the frame welded, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this. About 1.25 inches and about 1 inch. That's pretty much centered. That's pretty much where I want it. I'll go ahead and use the hacksaw and cut down through here, then we'll figure out how we're going to get the rest of that material out. So as you can see, this isn't regular clay brick. This is a refractory. That's why I'm able to cut it so easy with this. I'm going to use the depth of the hacksaw blade to show how far I want to go down. And I think this brick is good to a couple thousand degrees, 2,000 to 3,000 degrees, which isn't going to see anything around there. Alright, that should be close. That's what I found out. You make a couple cuts in here, and then you just take the blade, just move the blade one way, and it'll snap those right off. I'll go through it with a chisel or something just to flatten everything out when I'm done. Always find a way to do it. So there's most of it chunked out. Pretty easy. And we'll just take a flat cold chisel and get those high parts off of it. And then it should be done. It should be ready to be welded. So I found a better tool. A lot easier. And you really don't need a sharp edge. You just need it more uniform. My dad always told me, and it's been stuck with me, you want to find the easiest way to do something, give it to a lazy guy. Lazy guy's going to find the quickest way to get it done so he can go back to sleep or whatever. So there, that is pretty much as far as I need to go. I can go ahead and weld this up. A nice clean edge on there. I'm pretty happy with that. There's the 2 bricks set in place on top of each other in the bottom tray. I'll go ahead and I'll place the top tray on it and get ready to weld. So there's the top tray on it. I'm going to weld that bottom piece, weld that piece, weld a couple pieces over here. Again, I screwed up, so I have to actually custom make some pieces for that. We'll go ahead and weld that, and I will drill a hole over here someplace. And then the majority of the forge furnace is done. And what I'll do, I'm not sure which side's going to be front yet, whichever one looks nicest. But if this is the back side, I'm going to put up another chunk of angle iron down here so that the workpiece can rest on it. And then I'll also put a plate up here that covers all this. So if I don't need to, if I have a longer blade, if I need to bring that blade out, I can do that. If not, I don't want to waste it. Alright, so there's the finished framework. Again, I'm not sure which is front and which is back. We got this hogged out enough. If I need to, I can dig that out a little bit more. But it sits nice and flush. Maybe not so flush, probably some more burrs. Needs a little bit of, still some cleaning on it. I'm going to leave this piece on just until I weld legs. I'll probably weld some legs. Last couple welds I think were a lot better. I think I'm getting the hang of this. Wire feed welder from Harbor Freight. But the goal was to keep these bricks from separating so the bricks are at the same height. There's no movement in the bricks. Again, I'll weld a little piece of angle iron down here and a little angle iron wedge down here so that the metal doesn't dig into that. And then again on this side, we'll drill a hole, and I'll probably put another piece of metal here with a metal piece of pipe so it'll sit in there. So that's pretty much it. I think I'm done for today. I'm just going to clean this up. I'll wire brush it and paint it, and then look at doing something with the legs. Well, here we go grinding again. Alright, last little welding. You hear, I'd say cover your eyes. Get the hang of the welding. That could be its own separate video. That's it. Alright, so both of these are welded on. Both sides are welded. I'll zoom out here. Both of those are welded on. Now the last fabrication part of this is to put some feet on it. I'm making something like that. What I don't want to do is just go ahead and weld this. Maybe I'll weld one on. I'll tack it. Either I want it that way or out. Probably this one will be this way. I don't expect there to be much play. What I want to do is make sure this is level. I don't want this wobbling, so I'm just going to go ahead and tack it right in the center. And then I'll set the other one up and tack it and kind of adjust it that way. Alright, so all the welding's done. The legs are on. Grinding is done. Let's see from that way. It doesn't rock, which is good, so it's nice and steady. That's the back. So the only thing I need to do, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more. I'm going to paint it, and I will, actually this is the back. So that's the front. So I'll go ahead and paint it, and we'll drill a hole in here, and then that project is complete. It's weird is I bought these bricks last winter, and I wanted to get this project done, and it just sits and sits and sits. So for whatever reason, procrastination, I mean this took probably 3 hours total, start to finish, and this is one of the few times where I actually built it. You can see the mistakes. I mean, there's welding mistakes and angle mistakes and things, but the goal was to keep these two bricks aligned and to keep them from breaking, not like the other one brick forge that I had before. It broke in pieces, something hit it. So this is protected, that's not going anywhere. And if this breaks, you got maybe $40, materials and stuff in it, consumable materials. So where this furnace is going to come in handy, now that it's getting to be fall, it's going to be colder outside, so I'm not going to want to be actually outside doing this. So this will be in a garage. This is a blade from a hunting knife I got as a kid, probably 40 some years ago, 45 years ago. And of course I threw it and I broke the tip off of it. I had to grind it out. So one of my first projects, actually that'll be the next video, is making a replacement for this. What I like about this, on the other furnace that I had, every time I stuck the blade or the piece in, it would break this brick material. So now I have basically a steady rest on this side, and also a steady rest on this side, so you can actually work. You could work a whole sword on this if you wanted, just a little bit of time. It would take you time. Again, I'll go ahead and I'll drill the hole for that. And then the next thing I may attempt on this furnace, again, I need to put a plug, some sort of a plate back here when I'm not using that side, so I don't lose the heat. And then the other one will be to make a burner for this. I don't want to be using propane in the tank, so I may just convert that to an LP and make my own burner. Alright, so the last thing to do is to put a nice little hole in here. That's it. Alright, so now it's time to test it. We're going to go ahead and light this up. There's a throwing knife that I started a while ago. I don't know, 1/4 inch thick or something like that. Should easily fit inside here. And hopefully in a couple minutes we'll have some heat on this. Now it's in. You can definitely feel heat. Let's put a pair of gloves on. Not expecting that much heat to come out of there. See a little bit of signs of smoke. That's burning off the oil. May need to open that slot up a little bit so it's transferring enough heat. Alright, let's see what we got. So that is, what, 3 minutes of heating? Yeah, this works well. I'm happy with that. That's going to work perfect. Anyway, there it is. It's complete. I may actually put a sticker on this just because I've never done that before to show that I made it. Again, just a couple Firebrick, some scrap angle iron I had laying around. The biggest investment was a welder and the grinders and things like that. But having one of those little grinders makes things so much better. Very happy with what I got done. That is exactly what I wanted to design it for. And get out there and try it. This stuff isn't that difficult to do. Again, I sat there and thought about this for a while, and finally, that shouldn't be that bad, and finally just put the thing together. So a little bit of engineering, a little bit of thought into it, and this thing's going to last me for a while compared to the other one that broke after a couple weeks. If any questions, post them in the comments. If not, thanks for watching.